Good morning, YouTubers. Well, I've just been watching Line News this morning because I tend to put it on and just see what's happening with the limited information that they'll give you on stuff. And one of the things caught my eye this morning. There's a guy who was convicted of rape back in the early 2000s. He's just had his conviction crushed, okay, in the High Court after 17 years in jail. And turns out that there was no DNA evidence at the time. Can't remember when he was convicted, something like 2003, 2004. Anyway, come 2007, they did get DNA evidence from the victim. And it was a positive match that it was nothing to do with him. Okay, it was someone else, definitely. And the police and the criminal prosecution, the Crown Prosecution Service, for some reason decided to not to act on that information. That's how Sky News presented it. Anyway, all these years later, 17 years later, it's finally got to the Court of Appeal and he's had his conviction squashed on the grounds that he didn't do it. Now, this has happened before, and I dare say it's going to happen again. But we need to have the judges have guidelines, they have rules and standards, starting points which you can add and take away. And when it comes to compensation, if you've been in jail and you've been wrongfully convicted of something, I think you should be awarded £1 million a year, because it's your life. You can't get that life back. What price do you put on someone's life, you know? And I think as a rock bottom starting point, £1 million a year, the man should get a cheque for £17 million. This is before it goes to court for expenses and stuff like that, because he might finish up getting more. But as a rock bottom starting point, he should get £1 million a year, definitely. There was another case from Manchester, that's Manchester as well. Another case from Manchester years ago, there was a guy called Stefan Kishku who was arrested for rape. Some little girl got raped, and this guy was not all there in the head, and he lived at home with his mother, and the police booted his door, said, "You'll do, you're a weirdo," and they just beat a confession out of him. And he went to prison for years and years and years and years and years, and then one day DNA evidence came along which categorically proved it wasn't him. So they had to let him out. And I think all those police officers involved, people at the CPS, everyone, they should all be arrested and thrown in prison, because not acting on the information can also be phrased a different way. Conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, okay? That's how I'd see it, and that's how the courts would see it. And I think they should all go to prison. You know, if you've deliberately sent someone down for a crime they haven't committed, and you've known, or evidence has come to light later to prove they didn't do it, and you didn't act on it because you conspired in together, you think, oh, we don't want to act because we'll have to pay compensation. Yes, you will have to pay compensation, but if you've acted in good faith to begin with, you've got to bite the bullet, and the government's got to pay the money, because they're the ones who are the big standing in judgments over people, aren't they? And if they get it wrong, they've got to cough up. That's the way it is. Anyway, the courts of appeal take years and years and years, and Stefan Kishku and his mother were both dead by the time the case came up for compensation. So we need to set a limit, and I think £1 million a year, immediate payment, is a starting point. And then they can take it from there if they want to. They can say, no, it's not enough, and they can take it to court, and that'll take years. Or they can go, no, that's fine, I'm happy with my 17 million, I'm off to Rio de Janeiro, or whatever they want to do with it. It's up to them, isn't it? But that's what I think. What do you think? Comments down below. How would you like it if you'd been sent to prison and convicted of something you didn't do, and 10 years later they said, oh, actually, you didn't do it, did you? Well, we'll let you out. I mean, you'd be dead chuffed that you've got out of jail for sure, but you're going to want compensation. And what sort of compensation do you think people should get? What price do you put on someone's life? You know? Answers down below, please. I'm very interested to hear your opinions.